Some people believe that the soul of a person leaves the body after death. On July 29, 2014, a hospital CCTV camera captured this process live, and needless to say, it was extremely spooky. In the video, a corpse is laid on a bed in a room, and all of a sudden, the ghost of that person is clearly seen, coming out of the body and floating out the door. It is an incredibly hard thing to imagine, but this camera captured it and the footage was uploaded. This next video shows a very big anomaly. In it, we see two people sleeping peacefully at night, one on a higher bed facing up. Everything seems normal, but if you look closely, a flickering light can be seen entering the chest of one of the sleepers.
Someone goes into my chest,
there, yeah.
right into me. And then like a minute later, it comes bouncing out of me.
Then, a few seconds later, the same light emerged from the chest and went back out the way it came. It is hard to tell what really happened, but people in the comments of the video speculated that those were two spirits. Others speculate that the light that entered and exited was the person's spirit, going and returning.
There it goes, right out of my chest.
Yeah, there it goes.
Wow.
Yep. That's what it was.
A truck driver had repeatedly heard his co-workers talking about seeing a ghostly figure standing in the road in Louisiana, but he never quite bought into the story.
Have reported seeing a ghostly figure standing on the side of the road in Louisiana. One night, as he's driving by the allegedly haunted route, he sees this.
However, while driving one night through the supposedly haunted route, he comes across an extremely eerie sight. The driver sees what looks like a pale girl hunched over on the ground, and as he passes, she looks at him and raises a hand. The driver naturally didn't stop to know who or what that was. He simply sped past.
What looks like a pale girl can be seen hunched over on the ground, and when he passes by, she looks at him. Pedro kept driving and didn't stop to see who that was.
One night, a security guard was recorded interacting with someone, perhaps something that is invisible to the rest of us. A voice came from his walkie-talkie, asking who he was talking to, and according to him, he was talking to a lady he saw, whose name was Miss Abigail.
Who is he talking to? Dispatch to 329? Yes, sir. Who are you talking to?
I'm talking to a lady at one by the store. She said she's looking for Miss Abigail.
The lady on the other end expressed surprise as she told the guard that Miss Abigail had passed 2 years before. The guard asked if she couldn't see the person in front of him, and the lady replied, telling him there was no one there. The guard hastily backed away in panic.
Are you sure you're saying Miss Abigail? Like, she's been passed on for 2 years now.
Oh, yeah, without me? You mean you can't see the person I'm talking to?
No, there's nobody in front of you at all.
This video, taken from a security camera, was uploaded, and in it, we can see a night guard waving to someone. Apparently, he saw someone that the camera couldn't see. He even goes to open the door for the supposed lady that he sees.
Alvarez uploaded a video taken from a security camera where a man can be seen waving to someone in the dark. He sees someone we can't see.
While waiting for the elevator, he chats with the lady, and then the shocking thing happens. He is told via his walkie-talkie that he's the only one on the floor. Coming to this sudden and extremely unpleasant realization, the man takes to his heels, fleeing the building in panic. As to who he was talking to, well, it's safe to say it wasn't human. This clip was said to have been filmed at an abandoned house somewhere in Japan, where an urban explorer gets more than he thought he would as he faces an unexpected guest. The footage shows some not-so-clear shots of the
The footage begins with blurry shots of the exterior of the creepy abandoned property. Viewers aren't able to make out much other than the dense foliage and dim shadows lit only by the light of the camera.
A few seconds into the video, something unusual begins to happen. An eerie hand is seen gripping the corner of the house as it appears in ghost movies, only this one is moving like something out of the Resident Evil movie. Only the hand is visible. The rest of the mysterious entity is hidden on the other side of the building. No one knows what it is. Before the explorer can investigate further, it disappears just as quickly as it arrived. As the explorer examines every corner of the messy interior of the building, the camera pans across an open doorway. However, the explorer doesn't seem to notice the ghostly face peering back at them. Only the profile of the mysterious figure is visible, with most of its features obscured by long, dark hair hanging over its face. The entity ducks back into the doorway when the light from the camera finds it.
As they examine every corner of the messy interior, the camera pans across an open doorway. However, the explorer doesn't seem to notice the ghostly face peering back at them.
YouTuber Connor Does Adventure is no stranger to scary urban explorations. However, when he and his friends decided to visit an old abandoned tunnel, they encountered something they'll certainly never forget. Having explored these same tunnels before, the group wasn't expecting anything too strange or scary to interrupt their filming.
Yeah, we got like this way. There's like a little. This is the street view. This is the street view right here.
At first, the areas of the dark tunnel lit up only by their flashlights turn out to be nothing more interesting than graffiti and the occasional piece of litter. However, a few minutes into the exploration, things take a turn when they hear a noise that sounds like someone jumping down into the tunnel behind them. They zoom in on the area and manage to capture a shot of a chilling figure peering back at them. The group runs from the tunnel in terror.
Go now!
Unfortunately, it seems that they ran in the opposite direction to the exit, and they can only leave by heading back into the tunnel. Almost immediately, they begin hearing strange cries coming from the darkness. Soon after, the figure approaches. In the light, we can see a pale humanoid creature walking slowly toward them. Again, the boys run in terror, eventually making it safely to the exit. YouTuber Hype Mike decided to check out an abandoned factory one afternoon and film his experience for his followers to watch. Little did he know, he was not alone in the creepy building. He approaches the huge structure and enters through a doorway that seems to have been violently kicked in. He walks around the building, recording the usual graffiti and litter that most urban explorers find at abandoned sites. Further into the exploration, he begins hearing strange noises.
So, I mean, this place has definitely seen better days, right?
This seems to suggest that the building may not be as abandoned as he first thought. Despite the terrifying sounds, he continues his exploration. He comes across other unusual things, like a dead bird and burnt spots all over the walls. The noises seem to follow him, eventually getting louder. As the sun sets, things seem to return to normal. That is, until something truly terrifying happens. A shirtless man in a mask jumps out from behind a door. He emits strange guttural cries and waves his arm as he chases the explorer from the property.
Yo! Something just moved in there. Hello? I don't think I've actually been in this room.
This next clip shows incredibly eerie footage of a baby and his crib. Usually that is a cute sight to behold, except this one is not cute at all. In fact, it's very creepy to say the least.
Is this toddler possessed? Listen to his plaintive wail as he balances himself on his crib. And those eyes, they're glowing. Imagine the surprise little Connor Booth's parents felt when they...
The problem is that this baby is doing something that should not be possible for a baby to do. Even an adult will have a hard time doing it. The footage shows the baby balancing steadily on his crib with his arms stretched out. In the video, you can see his eyes glowing like two torches. It's clearly not a normal situation. Then, all of a sudden, he falls back on the mattress, pushed off by an invisible force.
First he climbs up the side of his crib, then does the impossible, steadying himself on the top rail for a remarkable 22 seconds before falling backwards onto the mattress.
This child's mother posted a video, and she doesn't know what to make of it. She was in the same room as her son when, out of nowhere, he began to cry. It wasn't until watching the footage that she was left disturbed.
The child's mother had posted the following video, as she doesn't know what to make of it. She was in the same room as her son, when out of nowhere, he began to cry. It wasn't until watching the footage that she was left disturbed.
In the video, we see that the child all of a sudden disappears from the camera's view. It appears that he was forcefully pushed over. The question, though, is who or what exactly pushed him over? The cradle in the back continues to swing as the child vanishes from the frame, suggesting that this wasn't a glitch. If it was, then the swing would have skipped a frame, just like the child had. But, as you can see, not a single frame is skipped.
The child, all of a sudden, disappears from the camera's view. It appears that he was pushed over forcefully. The question is, though, what exactly had pushed him over?
This next clip is something that, as a parent, you wouldn't want to happen to your child no matter what. This lively baby was playing as any child would. Then he moved forward, as if to take a closer look at something. All of a sudden, he fell back on his back hard, the same way a person would fall after being pushed. If he'd fallen on his butt, it might not have drawn attention. But falling uncontrollably in his back is a different matter entirely. There have been guesses, and the most dominating are those of ghosts. Something strange is about to happen in this relatively calm place. The place looks all peaceful and serene under the night sky, and no one in the world would think anything is unusual. Then a white cat walks into the range of the surveillance camera. The cat comes to a stop, facing away from the building. Then something that leaves us question marks happens. The cat looks back at the building, then takes about 2 steps forward and immediately disappears into thin air, just like that, as if it were never there to start with. In a building that looked more like a school or maybe an office, a CCTV camera captured a creepier than creepy sight. In the video, you can see some lockers and what looks like a sign used by janitors standing in front of 2 doors. The place is silent, as everything seems still. Then a sudden banging sound rang out. If anyone had been there, they probably would have been scared. But that's not all. One of the lockers eerily began to shake as if someone were rocking it back and forth. Another locker suddenly opened, and books and papers flew out on their own. Silence regained, and except for the papers on the floor, there was no sign that anything happened at all. But just when it seemed to be over, the lonely sign standing in front of the doors suddenly flew backwards and fell as if someone kicked it. If this isn't the activity of ghosts, then what on earth are they? A man named Casey posted this video. If you watch closely, what appears to be a misty line moves towards a truck, but when a neighbor's car's headlights approach, the image moves back across the yard and seems to take the form of a person. According to Casey, he went outside to see what was going on and he didn't see anybody out there. There wasn't anyone around walking down the street. So he went back inside and looked at the footage again.
Outside to see what was going on, and I didn't see anybody out there. There wasn't anyone around walking down the street. So I went back inside and looked at the footage again, and I was like, wow, check that out. I wonder what I got on camera.
This clip was filmed by a lady in Scotland. She noticed something going on among the trees, and if you look closely at the trees to the left, you'll notice paranormal activities going on there. The video shows more than one human apparition. They can be seen moving their limbs, and there is one almost as big as the entire tree. While there's no way to confirm the genuineness of the video, it can hardly be debunked either. The wars that happened at Gettysburg were pretty interesting, but hell for the soldiers who fought the wars. This footage shows really terrifying things on the fields. At first, the place is calm, and at first glance, it doesn't seem like anything is going to happen. But then, if you look closely at the tree to the left, you'll see a human apparition crouching behind it. Then, as if the field had become a leisure park for ghosts, one could clearly see many more human apparitions coming out of the trees, as if waking from their slumber. They all start to move around. While some people think it could be a camera glitch, others think it's the most authentic video they've seen about ghosts. Okay, seriously, there are some videos that, if you wake up to see them, you'll probably faint from fear, and this is one of them. This man's CCTV camera caught something weird in his sitting room. He is fast asleep on the couch, and his black cat is restless, pacing about, indicating that something is off. Then a flash of light shines and keeps moving, as if someone is playing with a flashlight. The light in the room starts flickering, and the poor cat keeps meowing, probably to wake up the being who seems to be having a great time in dreamland. The man must have been genuinely surprised or frightened when he saw the footage. This CCTV footage will make you think twice before leaving your kids at home by themselves. The video shows the little kids seemingly home alone playing, with one of them standing between the door frame. Nothing seems out of place.
In this scary video, a couple of kids are playing and having fun until this shocking event happens. Watch this.
That is, until the girl standing between the door frames suddenly starts struggling with something. She is lifted off the floor as if someone is behind her. She tries to run, but that's naturally impossible since her legs are dangling in the air. That's not all of it. The three girls are again seen playing when one of them springs forward to grab something from her sister, lying down in the process. All of a sudden, she starts moving backwards, as if something is dragging her by her legs. But the problem is that there's no one in sight besides the three kids. The CCTV in the house captured more than one paranormal activity. In one of the videos, the man was with his partner and their pet cat when an object on the table moved on its own from one side to another, but aside from the cat, no one noticed it. In another piece of footage, the man was with his dog and cat watching television when yet another paranormal movement interrupted him. There was a cup on the table with a spoon in it. The spoon suddenly moved to face the other direction. This time the man was clearly aware, and the surprise was evident on his face. In the last footage, there was no one in the living room, unlike the last two times. But paranormal activities are no respecter of a person's presence or absence. Objects on the shelf suddenly fell off as if an invisible hand pushed them from behind the shelf. The man came out seconds later, wondering what happened. In this next clip, what this CCTV captured on the 16th of September, 2016, will really leave you shocked to the bone. A little girl is playing there, and you got to admit, it's a really cute sight. However, the cute part ends when her doll, which is sitting next to her, suddenly moves slightly backwards and seems to tilt its head sideways. However, the kid doesn't notice anything unusual and continues to be okay. On September 20th, things were about to get ugly as the little girl was seen again, seemingly doing her homework. Suddenly, the papers to her left moved as if thrown down by a hand. The girl immediately took to her heels. She then walked back again, perhaps to confirm what she just saw, but that was a mistake on her part as the papers began to flutter like crazy before falling to the ground. Things fell off the table, and before long, the table itself began to move on its own. Yep, there are ghosts, all right. How would you react if you woke up to a ghost staring at you? Definitely not good. A man from Argentina woke up one morning to an unusually large notification from his backyard cam. He naturally checked, and what he found can best be described as spine-chilling. There in the camera footage, he saw a figure clad from head to toe in a white robe, staring right at the camera. The worst thing is that the figure seemed to be weeping.
He looked over the footage. This ominous-looking figure dressed in long white robes can be seen, staring at him.
The guy in this video noticed some paranormal activities going on in his house, so he decided to make this video to prove it. He explains how he's the only one at home and how no one can come in through the locked doors.
Just me in the house. And I'm just gonna point at the floor there. Tighten this up. Okay. Now for the skeptics, I'm gonna stay in camera.
Then he picks up a glass bowl of apples, sets it down on the floor, and moves a little bit away from it. Not even 3 seconds passes when the entire bowl begins to move. While this is inherently scary, the smile on the guy's face made his viewers believe otherwise. Ever seen a ghost on a rampage? Well, you're about to, as this next clip shows something extraordinary. A ghost in the kitchen seems to have been made mad by something and decides to take out its anger on the things in the kitchen as objects fly everywhere. Doors to the cupboards fling open as if someone with anger issues is trying to rip them off. Plates fly out of the drawers, smashing helplessly against the floor. Everything on the dining table seems to have minds of their own as they move off the table and fall to the floor. This woman in her kitchen had an experience that she most likely never wants to have again. She was putting things together in her kitchen and was rounding up. Suddenly, the ladder behind her slid halfway down. She went towards it to lift it up, but the ladder slipped completely, staying flat on the floor. Spooked, she took some steps back, but still raised up the ladder, changing its position. Just as she was leaving the kitchen, the waste bin spun on its own and fell. The lady didn't wait another second, running out of the kitchen. This video, a clear case of a haunted house, came up on October 17th, 2012. The man behind the camera has probably encountered strange things in his house more than once.
It's been doing it for about 10 minutes. There it is again. Okay.
As he stood in front of a door behind which extremely loud noises were coming, he hesitated for some seconds before cautiously opening the door, but he didn't find anything behind it. The noise then moved to the bathroom, and the man followed, but still found nothing there. It seemed as if the noise had moved downstairs. There didn't seem to be anyone else but him in the house, yet the noise proves otherwise. What made those noises? No one knows. This man thought his house was haunted, so he went to check out a strange sound that he heard coming from his basement. Descending the stairs, the basement was in sight, but he stopped a few steps away. His camera was pointed at the dark basement. No figure was seen, but footsteps were heard rushing towards him, causing the man to turn around and flee for dear life.
Oh my God! For some time, this homeowner has thought he's...
Unlike the previous kitchen ghost, who seemed to be angry for some reason, this kitchen ghost seems to be interested in target practice. As the knives in the kitchen start moving, suddenly, the knives fly out of the container with unbelievable precision, and then silence for a few seconds. The ghost seems to be tired of throwing, so it moves to the right side of the kitchen counter, and the pot starts moving on its own. An incident occurred on July 7, 2022, involving some people who sat in a hospital hallway, and it was captured by surveillance cameras. Sitting there, the people who were possibly waiting for their turn to see the doctor were minding their own business when a certain man in blue clothing ran past them as if running away from something. They paid him no mind and sat still until an empty wheelchair pushed itself towards them. The group of three promptly scattered, taking to their heels. On May 8, 2014, CCTV cameras captured footage of a creepy occurrence in a garage. In the video, we see a motorcycle standing quietly in a corner, and just then, the extraordinary happens. The bike, which clearly has no one on it near it, suddenly moves slightly forward and backward a couple of times before falling flat on the floor. There doesn't seem to be a logical explanation for this. And if you know, please drop it in the comments section. We want to know too. On January 16, 2018, a public CCTV camera in Barrackpore, India, captured something that would make the skins of drivers crawl. As everyone goes about their business, with many cars using the busy road, something appears that would make a driver's blood run cold. On the zebra crossing, just as the white sedan is about to make a turn, a blue bike is seen coming from the horizon and moving past the zebra crossing. The problem with this is that there was no one riding the bike. It basically rode itself across the road. The public certainly scratched their heads for a long time to come up with an answer. This video, captured by CCTV, shows a security guard in a hospital in Argentina having a conversation with an invisible patient. The video was uploaded, leaving people in confusion. Reports are that the man was conversing with an older woman who had died a day before. In this viral video, the man was seen chatting with her and even offering her a wheelchair. The question is, what on earth happened? How was it that the man could communicate with a dead person as though she were alive? In this video, you can see a man on a bike leaning forward but looking back. But this man is not our focus at all, as there's nothing unusual about him. If you look to the right side of the road, you'll see a bike calmly approaching. While some people may not pay attention to a bike moving on the road at night, the same cannot be said for a camera, which captures everything. This incoming bike is clearly without a rider, yet it was moving as though someone was riding it. Another mystery yet unexplained. Paranormal activities don't just happen in secluded or quiet places, after all. This clip takes us to Bolivia, specifically a school. The teacher is doing his thing on the whiteboard, and the material he is using suddenly comes off. No one thinks anything of it, and the class continues. But then more things begin to happen. The wastebasket moves on its own, and while everyone is wondering what is going on, the table suddenly makes its own move. At this point, everyone is already prepared to bolt, and when something flies from the corner of the class, the students finally make a run for it. It is not particularly clear why there should be a camera in the bedroom, but in any case, this one captured something worth watching. In the video, a couple were sleeping on the bed, and it was all peaceful at first. But then, 3 banging sounds echoed in the dead of night. The lady immediately woke up and looked around. As the banging continued, she desperately tried without success to wake up her partner, but the man seemed to have left Earth's atmosphere as he didn't even stir, despite the lady's voice piercing through the blanket of silence enveloping the night.
This next clip is the very definition of a haunted house. The man heard some weird sounds coming from his bathroom, and things escalated as objects began to move on their own. Even the guitar was playing itself. His dog barked seemingly at nothing, and his light flickered on and off.
Then he noticed a ghostly figure behind the door, but when he went to check, it had disappeared. The figure appears in human form and knocks before disappearing into thin air.